Welcome to the video, everyone. In this video, I'm gonna take you through my staple back and biceps workout that I do on my 12-week journey towards the competitor series. If you're interested, stay tuned for the rest of the video. Let's get started. So exercise number one, I love to start off my back days with some wide grip pull-ups. And when I mean wide grip pull-ups, I mean typically shoulder width, because a key tip to this is that most people, they go too wide and then some people go too narrow. But a very, very good median point is what you do is you grab, you reach up and find out what your shoulder width is. A little bit wider than shoulder width, I'd say 2 fingers past to the right of each finger. And that is your point. So typically when I pull, I don't pull straight up and down. I kind of lean backwards just a tad bit and I pull up to about my medium chest level, my middle chest level, and that's how I activate my back the most. So with this exercise, 5 sets, 10 to 12 reps. I always go about the bar to my chin, come all the way down, and all the way down to the point where you don't lock out your arms, but you're still extending your back as much as possible. Control your negatives. Sometimes if you feel like you're swaying too much, try to pause. Pause at the top, slow your negatives down, or pause at the bottom. Take about 30 seconds to a minute rest, depending on how quick you recover, and 5 sets. I stress this a lot. Don't just lift weights to get big, lift weights to perform. So body weight movements are always a key, because if you can't lift your body and you can lift all the weights in the world, then there's absolutely no use. All right, so the next exercise we have is our very first compound movement, that is double overhand barbell rows. So what we're gonna do first is actually find our warm-up set. We're not gonna count the reps. We're just gonna go with the flow, keep progressing until you find a weight that you're acclimated to, and then we treat that as our working set, 4 reps, or 4 sets, 10 to 12 reps. Let's go. Always warm up, pick a weight that is about, I'd say, 30 to 35% of your warm up or your 1 rep max, and then warm up with that and slowly progress until you feel like you're acclimated to the exercise, and then you go into it. So this is a warm up set. Typically I don't like to count in my warm up sets. I just go with the flow, and as long as I don't tire myself out for my working sets, then I'm good. You want to make sure that you're not 90 degrees with the floor. You maintain just a slight kind of incline a little bit with your back. Chest up, back arched, roll to your belly button. One key tip, a lot of people, this is a very, very hard movement, right? Especially when you go too heavy, you're gonna use a lot of momentum. If you find yourself using way too much momentum in the early sets, you need to drop down the weight, obviously, and control the weight. That is the key, guys. Control the weight, don't let that control you. I'll definitely say that we're pretty warm due to the number of sets with the pull-ups. That is definitely the benefit of pull-ups. We're gonna work up to our first working weight of 185. You can either pyramid, meaning progress in weight and decrease in reps, meaning you just lift heavier as you go, or you can do just straight sets, which I do. So I work with 185. We're gonna go with 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps. 2 variations to this movement. Either you go double overhand like so, or you can go double overhand, underhand. It works the same portion of your back, but the pulling motion is just a tad bit different, because one hand, or one variation, your hands are pronated, and the other ones, they're overhead. So I like double overhand. Proper rest is key. One thing I've always lived by during my whole lifting career is that when you find yourself taking a long break, let's say minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes, if you feel like you're ready, try this. Take an additional 15 to 20 seconds, clear your mind, go into the set and kill it. People always ask me why my strongest muscle group is my back. Every single person has a different genetic makeup, right? Different genetic composition. Every single person gains muscle faster in one area than the next. Mine happens to be my back. I'm more connected muscle-wise. So my muscle connection, when I train my back, I can feel it work a lot more than, let's say, my chest. Thus, that's why my back grows faster than my chest. Promise you guys, challenge yourself every set. Don't train to failure, right? A lot of people, the old misconception is every set needs to be to absolute failure, kill your muscles. You can kill your muscles in a whole different manner. That's called progressive overload. Train to about an RPE of 9, 8.5. And what RPE stands for is rated perceived exertion, which means how many reps you have left in the tank. I train RPE 8.5 to 9 on a 10 scale, meaning every single rep I leave about 1 to 2 reps in the tank so that my next sets are just as strong. If you train to failure every single set, your central nervous takes a massive beat down and you're not going to be able to recover as fast. Clear your mind before every set. Visualize the set. In your mind, before you start every set, tell yourself how many reps you're going to do. No matter what, you're going to get that set. Let's go. Weightlifting is simple. As long as you have your form, as long as you have your mind set to what you want to do, you can do it. Okay, so exercise number 3, another row movement. I love to do a lot of rows as opposed to a lot of pull downs. Thickness, right, row to grow, remember that. So next exercise we have is close grip, seated cable rows. Little trick to this that a lot of people do wrong. I see this movement be performed wrong in 10 different million ways, if that's even possible. So what you do is, before you perform your set, make sure your feeding position is on point, right? Because this is your base. Feet are your base and reset, okay? Bend your knees slightly, don't keep it so straight to the point where you're kind of buckling your quads. So what you want to do is, you want to stretch your back and open your scapula, open as opposed to retracting it. Stretch your back, but make sure that your back is rigid. And as you pull back, make sure that your upper body is about 90 degrees with the floor and you pull to your belly button. Every single rep, stretch. Stretch, contract, stretch and contract. One key tip is, when you pull back, don't pull back with your back. Pull back with your arms. Pull your elbows back and squeeze. So with this movement, remember, if you have to pull back all the way here, all the way, drop the weight. Control your weight. Every single exercise, no matter what muscle group it is, remember, control the weight, don't let it control you. So we're gonna start set number 2. We're gonna push back. We're gonna find our base. We're gonna keep everything tight. Stretch our back. As you pull back, remember, belly button, contract. The next exercise is an exercise that is relatable to the barbell row, but this is a 2-arm dumbbell row. Now with this exercise, there is no form of balance, so everything is on you. It's an exercise that you have to be very, very careful with because you are bent over, and just like the barbell row, you can hunch your back really, really easily. So what we want to do is slowly go down to the same angle as the barbell row. Maintain rigidness, flex your core, pull. And what you want to do is, as opposed to just going straight up and straight down, that'll be pulling with your biceps. What we do is we angle it and row it at an angle, almost diagonal, to the point where you're kind of, feels like you're starting a lawnmower, right? That's why these are called lawnmowers. So 4 sets, 10 to 12. So I think that one thing you guys have to remember, that every single person trains muscles that they can see, aka their show muscles. The back, the hamstrings, the calves are muscles you cannot see on a daily basis. So a lot of people undermine those muscles. The back is a very, very complicated set of muscles. You have your teres major minor, you have your erectors, you have your lower back, you have your rhomboids, you have your traps. There's a number of different exercises that are all large muscle groups. So make sure that you're training all portions. You're training your high rows, you're training your mid rows, you're training your low rows, you're training your pull downs, you're training your pull overs, and all these different things. And I promise you, if you put an emphasis on everything, on every single portion of your muscle groups, whether your weakest muscle group or your strongest muscle group, you will improve drastically. There's always going to be someone bigger, stronger, leaner than you, right? Their genetics may be better than you. But at the end of the day, guys, it really doesn't matter. It's all you. Every single person was built from a different form, right? As long as you focus on you, as long as you have your consistency every single day, and you're not outworked in any form or manner, then that's all that matters. Don't compare yourself to other individuals. In the gym, man, there's so many people in here that are bigger than me. I focus on me. I focus on building myself every single day. I train 6 to 7 days a week, and I don't let that to be a deter of training. Not insecure. Be confident in yourself. Be confident in your abilities, in your training, in your strength, and go in with one goal. You. That's it. Improving yourself every single day. Relay that to every single thing in life. There's no stopping you. Okay, so we're finished with our back training, so now we're moving on to our bicep movements, which is our secondary muscle, and we're gonna start off with some supinated dumbbell curls. Let's get started. One key tip with biceps is the natural curling movement is here, okay? If you notice, the whole time that I am curling up and down, my biceps are engaged. Most of the time, you'll find a lot of people when they're curling too high up. And when you curl too high up, what happens, right? Treat this as gravity, your biceps actually rest. So again, if you go too high up, your biceps take a rest and you put too much shoulder involvement. But if you go from lower all the way to about a little past 90 degrees and maintain your elbows, stay by your side, you will activate your muscles the whole time. So we are done. Hope that helps. One bicep movement, which is a supinating dumbbell curl that works both heads. So the word supinating, there's supinating and there's pronating, right? Supinating, you turn. And as you turn, you activate both heads of the biceps. So on the way down, it's a hammer curl. On the way up, it's a short head of the bicep. So it works both heads. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna transition into a pronated curl, which is having your palms face up the entire time. With this one, you wanna grab a relatively light weight. Okay, the next bicep movement we have is a preacher dumbbell pronated curl. It's a handful or a mouthful. So all we do, lean into it, put our whole body against the pad, and what this allows is no momentum at all for your biceps. So literally straight biceps, and all you do is keep your elbows, keep your triceps on the pad the entire time, and curl up about 90 degrees and come back down. That's it. You can hold it for a slight contraction, maybe like a half second. Very simple. Promise you guys, go light on this movement. This is a killer bicep movement. Can't go as heavy, but you feel it a lot more. I usually go 3 sets, about 10 to 15 reps.